Good morning. Good morning. We're having everybody enter from the waiting room. I'm Kia Murray. I'm the Director of Academic Services at the Colorado League of Charter Schools. Our sincerest apologies for the confusion with the link. There's so many wonderful presenters sitting on this call today, as well as participants. And really, this was probably the worst session to have this link issue, but we appreciate your patience and your grace in starting a little bit late. We're very eager to hear from all of our participants today, and hopefully those of you who are attending will learn a great deal. Greg, if you can go ahead and start sharing the presentation with my kickoff slides, that would be awesome.
Well, you know what? It's disabled right now. So I really need you to go ahead and
you're not able to share screen yet?
Yeah, I can't share right now.
Okay.
Greg, this is Carolyn. You have screen share enabled, so try again, please.
Thank you. And I'm getting some funny feedback here on my end.
We see you in the call twice, so I'm not really sure. It looks like you've logged in 2 times.
Yes, I use 2 computers.
All right, awesome.
So, yeah, I think it's okay now.
It is. You're good to go.
Well, we are thrilled that you are here at our virtual annual conference. You can go ahead and advance the slide, please. We are currently in the session Building Ships, Stem the Gap for Real World Learning, presented by Greg Kennedy from STEM School Highlands Ranch and Sue Lynch from Lockheed Martin, and a whole swath of other great presenters who are going to be sharing about their ships. Go ahead and advance the slide. Before we begin, a few norms, and I'll be quick. Please stay muted unless the presenters ask you to unmute. Go ahead and use the chat for questions and comments. And if you can rename yourself with your name and your school or organization, that is really helpful for us to know who is on the call today. And we would also love to see your faces. So if you can enable video, that would be awesome. It helps make things a little bit more interactive. And next slide, please. Here's a brief look at the agenda. We'll skip over this pretty quickly. Next slide, please. And then here are our announcements. There's a lot happening today. Hopefully you can join at happy hour at 5 p.m. and check out our virtual exhibit hall. And I will go ahead and turn it over to Greg for our presentation.
Hey, hello, everybody. I'm so sorry for the Zoom mess up. The link that I was sent was for yesterday. And so that for my crew, that's the one I sent out. That's the one I had. But we're good to go now. And hopefully most of my people found me and found this link. So welcome to this presentation. And we would love to have your video on. So please have it on. We're building some ships here today. We need to know who we're talking to. You can control your view. I have a lot of slides, but I'm going to zip through them really quick and not talk at them. So it's important to see the people that are telling the stories, probably more than the slides. So when you're in that view, you can actually, there's a little bar between the shared content and the participants. You can slide that left to right and see people's faces. So, and I might put a few of you on the spot too here. Use the chat a lot. We had an event last Friday with some students from Belize and the US, and the chat exploded with positive comments. It was like a feel-good moment. I was so happy to see the empathy and joy in the students, and I encourage you to do that here. We in this time of just getting through winter and the pandemic and everything else that's going on in life, we need all the pick-me-ups we can get. So go for it, would you? Reactions, yeah, same thing. Go for it. Okay, so we're here to talk about change, right? That's the conference. Change. I wonder what it will take to implement changes. Changes that help our students thrive in their future lives and careers. Well, students are excited about the future if we make some changes. Here's some comments that our students shared after they watched Perseverance landing lately. That was pretty cool. Sorry, I'm going so fast here. Oh, yeah. All right, change my slide here too. What will our students need to succeed? And us as we go through change. Pretty cool. A helicopter on Mars lately. I wonder how it got there. I just attended an Air Force symposium on character and leadership. And this just jumped out, so I had to share it very quickly. Integrity is the single most important part of character, according to the Air Force symposium. And I believe today is one of those moments where people are watching us, not to see us fail, because if you implement change, there will be failure. But we're not here to see the failure. We're here to live up to the expectations that our students have of us and that we have for each other. So please keep that in mind. So in a recent article in the New York Times explained why the United Arab Emirates, Japan, and Colorado CU Boulder are working together. The ability to change, to collaborate, to work together gives hope. And I just extracted a couple of these things. I thought it was interesting that the United Arab Emirates, this project was based around their desire. How do you develop highly skilled people that are able to take on higher risks? How do you inspire youth? And then, we like to have like-minded people who are driven by excellence. And I think what you're going to see in some of these ships is exactly that. Go really fast through this. This is actually a personality profile slide that we're using to connect industry leaders to students and teachers to each other and those kind of things. So there's my slide. I don't have time to tell you, but you can maybe guess some things about me from looking at that slide. I did some research on synchronous education. We're in a rush here today, so contact me later if you want to know more. Connecting people around the world to work together on things. There's some pictures of it in action. I want to introduce a person who has completely changed my life and has really helped with this building ships movement. Sue Lynch is not only a leader in aerospace, having worked on GOES satellites and the Mars 2020, Heat Shield, and now this Janus project, the Simplex mission. But she is so excited, as I imagine you would, sending spacecraft to Mars or working on satellites or those kind of things. But Sue is equally excited about this educational movement called Building Ships and what the potential might be. So Sue, turning it over to you for a minute.
Good morning. As Greg mentioned, I work for Lockheed Martin, and as a result of working for Lockheed, I get the extreme pleasure to work with various students, and started with college students. And I had a previous mentor ask if I would take on a high school student, and I honestly didn't know if they could do the work that we were asking them to do. And really, these two students that I got blew me away. And I dived wholeheartedly into mentoring high school students at that point. And along the way, I've met various people, a lot of whom are on this call, who very much believe in our youth as well. And you can see my set of youth in this slide that I do. I like to coach as well. And these students have taught me more, and I have gained more from them than I've ever given back to them, I think. So our current program, I have several of our high school interns on the line today, and they have an amazing project going on. And watching them do a collaborative project tied into the space industry is one of my things that I look forward to every week. And their creativity keeps me going so that we can continue to do the work that we do. I didn't have a lot of opportunity growing up. I grew up in Idaho, and I buy into giving students as much opportunity as we can, so they don't have to fight and claw their way into doing really great things. So that's my mission. That's why I'm involved. And I very much appreciate the consortiums I've had with Greg and Sharon and Jenny, who are all on this call. And the fact of the matter is it keeps growing and growing, and we meet more people. I saw Deborah on the call. I saw so many other people who support youth and support having our youth be engaged in their next jobs and their next opportunities, that I'm very happy to have you all here. So I'm going to turn it on back to Greg. I just wanted you to know a little bit why, and why this program works so well, and why some of the things we've done have been so exciting.
Thank you so much, Sue. Okay, everybody, time to wake up. I'm going to give you a test now. You can answer this in the chat. You can even unmute for just a second. This is a 15-second test. You have 15 seconds to name name different kinds of ships. Begin now. Go. Let's see what comes up in the chat. All right, you can unmute and yell one out. That would be fun.
Partnerships.
Awesome. Way to go. Time to wake up. Okay, time's up. So this was something that I learned from one of the Lockheed Martin people that I've been working with that was a complete game changer for me. The concept of skunkworks and Kelly Johnson's work and how you make the impossible possible. And so on one of their podcasts, they have this SHIPS test, and I failed it. And most adults fail it. Most middle school students get very high grades in this test. So I said Titanic, and then I was thinking of ocean liners and things like that. If you said airship, things like that, you might have barely a passing grade. If you said relationships, friendships, and things like that, that's the typical middle school answers. And so for me, I was amazed, not only by the test, and it shows that adults tend to put in their bias. They have too many rules, and it prevents them from being creative and innovative and making the impossible possible. And I encourage you to get deep into the philosophy of skunkworks at another time, because it's worthy of its own session here today. Trust me. So the students said these words, but then I looked at it and said, okay, students, those are all the words that are making a difference in education. So it's beyond Lockheed Martin and beyond the SHIPS test. So we're here to build some ships with you, very important ships that we want to build with you. I'm going to speed through this. It's really, really important, but we don't have that much time today. And I want you to meet the ship builders and the students and the other people who are doing this in real time. I do want to read this one quote because this jumped out at me. There are all kinds of challenges these days that people are trying to solve, and we're done with the easy problems. We're entering grand challenges that aren't going to be solved by a person or a company. They're going to be solved by a community. And folks, your students want to solve the grand challenges. I've been on the other sessions for this change conference, and I've heard other people speak. And those of us who have been in the business a long time, that's me, 60 years old, 35 years in the business. And I've sort of seen everything. And I can tell you, when I started teaching, it was so simple. The students were happy with doing the things that were in my head that I was delivering to them. That's not the case today. And yet some of the teaching methods are the same. So I challenge you to think about this and what your students want and change. So why? Why do we want to connect subject matter experts? I want you to explode in the chat right now and put some stuff in there, and even unmute if you want to. 35 years of teaching, I can tell you I have seen great things. Students skipping through the halls, happy to learn, but I have also seen depression, suicide, violence. I have seen things in schools, and you say, okay, maybe connecting to other caring adults can do something. Here's my short list, and it goes on, and you can compare some of what I put in here with maybe what you did. Please take a look at the chat. Please keep doing this as we go along. And yeah, I don't mind being interrupted in any part of this because we're all working on this together. So you can slow me down if something really happens that you want us to slow down. Relationships. If I had to pick one word out of all those ships that were mentioned, it would be relationships. I have been married a long time, and I talked to my wife and I said, "Okay, what is it?" And it's going through stuff together. It's shared experiences, and we've been through good and bad together. And I think that's what makes our relationship strong. It is not a one-way delivery. Let me say that again. It is not a one-way delivery. So, educators, it is not a one-way delivery. That's all I'm going to say. Who should build these relationships? What are the possibilities? Well, you can say, okay, let's put it on the shoulders of a foundation, or maybe a district thing, or maybe a career tech ed, or an aerospace. When Sue Lynch and I presented, we say, okay, it could be a foundation, or maybe community and government relationships, whatever. And then if you go down the list on the left and the right, you can see there's more and more people. Okay, so in the aerospace industry alone in Colorado, just in Colorado, we have about almost 200,000 relationships that could be built that could make a difference in students' lives. And then I'm going to rush through this, but even in a pandemic, the Denver Post examined the upward trajectory of the aerospace industry. And also we've worked in healthcare and other sectors too. And you see the same kind of things. There's a lot of people that could be building ships in the healthcare industry. And you can take a look at that list as I fly by it very quickly. You know, the census is a couple of years behind in giving you the data. But in 2018, for instance, the healthcare industry, the highest employment numbers of any industry. What a lot of ships we could build just in the healthcare industry. Isn't that amazing? Okay, so you could read this to yourself, but since we're in a rush, I'll just say, if you compare some of the statistics and the concepts I've thrown out, it's pretty overwhelming. Pretty overwhelming what we could be doing, pretty overwhelming what we haven't done. And now let's talk about rural just for a second. There's a lot of outreach that in our shipbuilding that we do that is bringing us together in collaboration, urban, rural. And you can tell from our world, just turn on the TV for a while, the people aren't good at working together, at collaborating. Our students are. And so this is such a great thing for rural areas to start combining our students' interest with industry and other things. I was at a meeting at the STEM School Highlands Ranch a few years ago, and we brought industry leaders in. I don't like meetings in schools usually. I hide in the back and I don't pay attention. But I'll tell you, this one blew me away. I'm still thinking about it today. The industry leaders spoke up and said, "This is what we want. This is what we want. This is what school should be doing." And then on the right was what we were trying to do. But who should do this? Should it be a teacher? Should it be a school? Who are going to teach these things that industry said that they want? Well, I'm beginning to think it really should be industry leaders teaching leadership. I really think a lot, if they were so passionate about those things, why not them? And we can be facilitators of this stuff. I'm going to jump ahead to some of these amazing ship builders now. And we have internships going on now with Lockheed Martin and a wonderful team from Jeffco School District in Colorado, Sharon Usher and Jenny Herbaugh. And I'm telling you, we have weekly forums. The small groups meet. They work with their mentor. Sue Lynch is one of the mentors. It's like watching miracles. So I'm muting now, turning it over to Sharon and Jenny.
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate it so much. So my name is Sharon Usher. I am the director of the Executive High School Internship Program for Jeffco Public Schools. My co-teacher, Jenny Herbaugh, is on as well. And for many, many years, we have had this program in Jeffco that takes high academic high school seniors and places them in the career field that they hope to pursue. So we work with about 135 businesses every single year with our internships. And it's been a very successful program. We've been happy with that. And then comes a pandemic. And we have businesses that are closed, and due to risk, they don't want to bring in our students, and we're looking for other methods. And one of our constant placements has been Lockheed Martin, and one of our constant mentors has been Sue Lynch. And so when we realized that Lockheed has shut down and we're talking to Sue, and without taking a breath, Sue said, it isn't their fault and they deserve to have this opportunity, and we're going to figure out a way. So Sue had also been working with Dr. Kennedy and put all of us together and said, let's figure out a way that we could do this. One of the areas that Jenny specializes in is project management. So we took a look at how could we make the best situation for our students. And honestly, I think we've made a situation that's going to last for many years to come. But currently, Sue and our support team that we have at Lockheed Martin that truly believes in helping out our youth. And let me just let you know as an audience, it just takes one Sue Lynch to make this work in businesses. We have 135 businesses that work with our 200 high school interns every single year. It just takes that one person, and a program like this can grow. But we brainstormed what would be the best for these students, and we talked about bringing in speakers. So currently, we have a speaker series that happens once a week for our Lockheed students, and another speaker series that happens once a week for our healthcare professionals. And we are bringing students or bringing speakers in to talk to the students in these virtual format, where they're answering questions not only about their career, but truly about their road to get to that career. Where did they go to school? How did they determine what major they were going to have? What classes did they take that helped them? Where did they fail? And they share that information. But then our students open up and start asking things. First, we probably start in chat, and then we really hope they unmute and just start asking questions. And so the students have this great forum for being able to talk to these professionals that are holding jobs they hope to have someday, and building those networks that they want to have with people. So we encourage them, reach out even after the speaker series and make that connection and build those relationships with these people. So our speaker series have been amazing. When we partnered with Greg and his group at STEM, Greg also has this wonderful relationship with rural Colorado, having grown up himself in rural Colorado. And so in the fall, when we started this with Lockheed Martin, we had several students from rural Colorado that were on. And I think my favorite story is watching one of them still participating in our speaker series while he's in his combine, because it was harvest season, but he was there participating, watching, being part of this, but life went on in his normal world and what he needed to do. So it has been great. This semester with our speaker series for healthcare, we're thrilled to have a couple students from Belize, and it's really helping our students see how other students are learning, living, and they're collaborating, they're building relationships with those groups. And another way they're building those relationships is we put them into small groups of 4 or 5 students and have put them through projects. And Jenny's going to explain kind of what we've done with project management, what the students are doing with projects. And then I know we have some students on here. So when Jenny's done, we're going to kind of open up and let you hear some of the things they have been saying. But I hear things like, the best part of my internship was connecting with like-minded peers, or I enjoy being able to build those network systems that I know I'm going to need to be successful. And I think the one that sticks with me the most was last semester, we had a student who said, I'm not being taught a lot, but I sure am learning a ton, because in their projects, they're doing research, they're learning from each other, they're learning from their mentors, and it's just been a great learning experience. So Jenny, I will turn it over to you, and thank you so much for being here today with us.
Thank you, everybody. I'm Jenny Herbaugh. The small groups have been wonderful as well. So in addition to the speaker series, our small groups are 4 or 5 students that work with a mentor. And we've been fortunate to have Sue and other people Lockheed and Greg and healthcare professionals. And these small groups work on a project that they define themselves. So the group comes up with the project that they want to do. The mentors are there to help guide their learning, maybe bring in resources if they need a specialist about a certain topic. And we introduce them to project management. So the Project Management Institute has a sector called Education Foundation that has curriculum for young people. We use that, and the students learn about defining a project. They learn about risk management. They learn about size and scoping of a project. They create project schedules. So they get a taste of project management in this safe environment with a group of peers. And we just had amazing projects. One example I'll tell you about, we had a group of engineering students that wanted to create a CubeSat. So they went through the process of defining a project on what it would take to produce a CubeSat. Another one wanted to grow food on the moon because they learned that how expensive it was to take food to the moon. So it was just amazing what these kids got to do in their small groups, and they learned about project management along the way so they can use it in any industry that they decide to go into in the future. Greg, do you have students set up?
I think there are some. If any of our interns are on here, unmute right now and let us know how you're feeling about this.
Hey there, I'm a part of Group 1 along with Riley and Roshan. And then if any of our other members are on, that's awesome as well. So we're the group, as Ms. Herbow was talking about, with the greenhouse on the moon. And Riley and Roshan had a brilliant idea at the very beginning of doing something with the moon. And we definitely thought about the food aspect and wanting to develop a hydroponic system or some type of system to feed our astronauts. Riley and Roshan can talk more about that.
Yeah, one of the reasons why I decided to do this project was that I was super interested in how food can be grown on the moon and sort of like anything that we can learn from growing food in outer space, because as we continue to expand into going on to new planets and everything, food will be essential. So I think that our project and researching about how food grows and doing experiments with what kind of food grows and what will be the best food to feed astronauts will be extremely beneficial in the future. So that's one of the reasons why I mainly wanted to do this project. And Roshan can explain what he's been doing during the project if he wants to.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, one of the really cool things about the project is that even though we were already, only about 5 or so people, but then from there we even, divided more into looking at even more specialized parts of our project. So I think it's really cool that we're able to, actually focus on different areas that we're interested in because the project is so general to begin with. And so, for example, we have, at the moment, we're kind of split into 2 parts. One is the structure part and one is the hydroponic system part. And so Liam and I are on the hydroponic part while Riley's on the structure part. And so I guess I can speak to the hydroponic team. We're kind of looking at how can we combine this system and what are all the essential requirements. And then, we're communicating with the other team and discussing how can we interface those 2 tiers, basically.
So I'd love to add that you're all seeing an example of what I'm getting out of this. I learned too, this is not my area of expertise, and they chose a project that was outside of that. So it's pushed me to go find some experts that I know in the field. It's pushed me to learn more things. Our other co-leader or our other co-mentor is a human factors expert. So she brings things to the table that I've never even heard. And we found out yesterday that her background was in psychology. Is that right, students? So it's an interesting thing in an engineering internship. You have mentors who have been in engineering but are not trained as engineers. So it's a really good way to show how that we all work together to make a project a success on our side and they're dreaming it up themselves. So I'm really glad that you got to meet these students. Thank you, students, for joining.
Yes, thank you. So see what I mean is it's miracles every day. So and we have some more stories to tell you. You know, we have a board of industry experts, the Building Ships executive level advisory board, and this is who is on it. And some of them are on this meeting, and we won't take a lot of time to talk about it. But if any of them want to unmute to just say what this has meant to them on the industry side. We did a SWOT analysis, and one of our mentors one of our advisory board members who is not on this meeting right now because he had a conflict, but Alex from Felsberg, Holt and Ullevig Civil Engineering had boiled it down to adults energized. And so something to think about. Any board members want to chime in for a second? All right, well, I'm just going to go through this because we have some of them on here and they're going to present a little bit later as well. Okay, well, and one of them will right now. So I want to introduce to you Deborah Wilcox, who has had this vision, like Sue Lynch and I have had too, of these students coming together, inspired and informed by industry and facilitated by teachers, but really listening to the students. So Deborah, go ahead and unmute and tell us the story of what you're doing.
Thank you, Greg. And I'm very pleased to be here and part of this because I, like Sue, believe in this and get more out of it than put into it. But it's amazing to work with second and third graders for the project we're doing, which is around a not-for-profit we created called Prosthetics, where we've been building prosthesis for animals. And what I know about younger students is they are very interested in learning the language of design, which is what we have spent a lot of time teaching them. What are shapes, touches, and textures and shapes and all those things that really matter for what I do, which is in the 3D printing world. And now they're looking at how they can help animals and how they could create a prosthetic for an animal, be that a furry animal or a not furry animal. It could be birds, could be snakes, could be turtles. We've done a lot of projects for turtles. They're learning a lot, and as usual, they teach us more than we teach them, because the second you turn them loose on design and give them some words to use, they take it and run with it, and they are designing things that we didn't think of. Because the truth is, they see animals differently than we do, and they understand them differently. So we talk about biomechanics as a thing they could learn about. They are intuitively biomechanics experts in many ways. So the good news is they're learning, and we get to watch, and we get to see how much they are capable of doing with just a little bit of, put the problem in front of them and let them go. And they're very good at it. And I'll tell you, for doing it remotely with that age group, they're doing amazing. They do better than some grown-ups I've seen on Zoom meetings. So we're very happy to be working with these kids, and we are going to get them into actual design, into CAD programs. And from there, they will then be actually building these 3D printing the parts that they're creating. So this is an end-to-end project for them, and it involves so many aspects of learning, and they're really good at it. And I am thankful that you included us in the project, Greg. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Deborah. And so Deborah is the driving force in a lot of these relationships that go beyond prosthetics too. I hope Tom Kirk was able to find the Zoom meeting invite and is on right now. But if you are on, Tom, would you go ahead and unmute and tell us your story?
Okay, I'm Tom Kirk. I teach with the Lahana schools. I'm in the alternative school right now. And what this boils down to, our success so far has been getting our kids connected with the outside world. We're a little bit isolated. We're very underserved. And we have a wonderful partnership with Deborah at the 3D printing store. And that came through our connection with Greg initially, which originated with the Aerospace Alley group that the Wings Over the Rockies deal is trying to be a hub for. And so the critical thing is now I've been messing with project-based learning for a long time. And the goal is, hey, we get to connect with the experts. And they've been very, very generous in terms of their time and support. And Deborah's group, Deborah then connected us with York Space Systems in Denver. And right now, just our kids having that awareness that somebody else is interested in what they're doing is huge, because we're able to keep our kids engaged then. And like Deborah and I talk about, it's like, this really isn't hard to do. It's pretty simple, and it's just you know, creating that awareness and then ideas. And so you know, kids are kids. I've dealt with the spectrum, and our kids are every bit as enthusiastic and full of ideas. You know, we're just trying to create more opportunities. And then the second piece to ours is I'm a social studies person. I'm non-STEM, but now I've been able to also make a connection through a gentleman in Colorado Springs, Dr. Anatoly Glashenko, and our district has invested into his program. It's called Physics in a Box. I'll put it in the chat. And now we've got the heart and soul, the meat and the potatoes to deliver some true STEM grounded physics education. And what we want to do then is get our kids to where this foundation with physics can be then transferred into their projects. So I tell the kids, it's like, hey, we want to design cool stuff, but we want to make it structural. And so now we've got this wonderful opportunity. I'm very thankful our district has made a commitment to this other program. So now we can be real. We can not just make stuff up, you know. However, now we can bring in the essentials with it. So I'm very excited for both, and very thankful to Greg and very thankful for Deborah.
Thanks, Tom. I'm going to call out one quick thing here because I am totally a space geek like so many other people, but the 1 year ago that we were able to bring the kids from La Junta to Denver was for Colorado Aerospace Day at the Capitol. And I'm going to put the link to that in the chat. It's virtual this year, so everybody on this call can participate. The governor will issue a proclamation. Lieutenant Primavera will speak, and many, many of the aerospace companies who are key to the economy here in Colorado will be there. All of your students can be part of that virtual event and learn about the aerospace industry in the state of Colorado. I encourage you all to attend.
Thank you, Deborah. I appreciate that so much. Lieutenant Governor Primavera has rural roots in eastern Colorado, and so we're on to a little bit of a rural theme here now. And I want to introduce somebody who has piloted and taken a lot of risk in a project we did with the USGS and some water lawyers, and I believe it was 7 rural schools. This would be middle school age, and then also the STEM school, Highlands Ranch. So Brittany Lang, would you please unmute and tell the story?
Hi, everyone. My name is Brittany Lang. I live down in Cortez, Colorado. So we're down in the Four Corners region, close to New Mexico and Utah. Yeah, and so Greg is kind of laying this foundation of virtual collaboration and these 21st century skills and being able to make all these connections with students around the state. And like he said, making a risk. We kind of all embarked on the journey with like, we're not sure where we're going. And I think that is the nature of the pedagogical shift that teachers are experiencing in allowing students to be the drivers of their learning. And with that comes nervousness from teachers. And, we are all teachers because we love structure and we love to sometimes have all the information, but really changing that paradigm to get students to look at learning differently and getting students to know that you map out your learning and you're creating your own knowledge is a huge shift. And I did have a student here with me, and he told me to say that this project is inspiring. And so to get students to be inspired about their learning, to be engaged, to leverage accountability, working with all of these industry leaders, it really makes learning real. I was talking with a mom just the other day, and we have a lot of behavior problems down here in Cortez. We border 2 different Native American reservations, the Ute tribe, the Ute Mountain Ute, as well as the Navajo. And so the dichotomy of students that we cater to, the traditional style of learning just isn't working. And so I think Greg opening up our eyes and being able to shift the way that we teach is inspiring, and being able to inspire our students is my number one goal, because we don't want to teach anything that can be Googled. The virtual world is endless. So we as teachers and industry leaders, we are providing students with opportunities to teach themselves, because we live in an ever-changing world, and we're preparing our students for, a future that we really don't know what it looks like. And so the last thing that I really wanted to share with this whole virtual collaboration perfect page is we have been able to stretch our sense of place. And I started this speech at the very end of our collaboration looking at students in their kitchens and students in their bedrooms, in their houses, while, Cortez, we've been in person the whole time, but really looking at how we can stretch this idea of place and where we reside using virtual collaboration. And I think that technology, we can say it at the beginning of the meeting, kind of inevitably gets us frustrated and kind of anxious when we don't know what's going on. But I really see this shift in using Zoom and Google Meets and Google Classroom in this technology-based age to really be, an ally to us in the education field. And so being able to meet with all of these industry leaders, I look at George Sibley's name on here from Gunnison, who is really good friends of my in-laws, to my really wonderful friend, Alana Bond, who just had a baby, and Jay Loescher and Travis Custer. They live down here with the Montezuma Land Conservancy. To allow students to find their own knowledge. And I think that's the theme here is with all of these works, listening to Tom and to Deborah and to Susie, it's how can we provide opportunity for students where we as teachers and industry leaders don't have all the answers. And I really think that that's the theme here. And so thank you to Greg in looking at water. I think it could be the theme of aerospace to water conservation, but we're really looking at how can students make positive change in the world. So thank you for letting me be a part of this meeting. And Greg, I'm excited for this.
Yeah, and this group is still meeting. Our collaboration, a few weeks ago was the official end, but now bi-weekly these mentors and students and teachers are meeting because of course the water issue goes on and our students want to solve it. So it's a to be continued attitude. So and Brittany is a leader in this. So thank you so much, Brittany. Also leading us in this is an educational specialist. I call her the Queen of Quest. My dear friend and somebody I admire so much. This is Ann Tweed. I want Ann, you to tell us a little bit about this Quest approach to connecting subject matter experts to learning for our students.
Sure, thanks, Greg. My background is in the classroom for more than 30 years. And one of the things that I did once I transitioned to working more with professional learning was to try and pull together some of the research about how can we have effective instruction. Well, with online learning, things change dramatically. And Carnegie has just recently done a report, and what they've said is to have effective online learning, we still have to maintain a focus on high quality learning experiences. In addition to that, we want to connect to communities and families and subject matter experts as critical assets to that learning process. Third, they identified that the learning has to be equitable for all the kids. So we don't want to leave some of them out, do you know what I mean? So trying to get these collaborations and getting them to work together is a really important piece as we're building these relationships. So among and across, and that's definitely part of this. And lastly, they said to be successful, we need to have an approach where the learning environment is constantly being modified and changed in an ongoing way. And we took all those together, and that's part of what this project-based learning model is that we call Quest. So it allows students and empowers students to be the drivers of their own learning. So they start with a question, and it has to be a broad question because, just as Brittany was saying, it's not anything that we're going to Google and look up, but it's something that then becomes relevant to them, that they really are passionate about, and usually it has to be something that's community related. They go about uncovering more information as they ask more questions, and we link them to those subject matter experts as they start to explore different possibilities for solutions. So fostering that analytic thinking is all part of this process. Ultimately, they get together and they come up with solutions, pros and cons, what's going to work, what are the cost benefits, etc. And ultimately share that by telling others. So by using this Quest process, they're able to do all of the things that we know are part of really good learning for students in this environment of building ships and also of effective online learning experiences. Now, as Greg was saying, one of the things that we've done is we've continued the work with the teachers, and they're the ones that selected to continue their partnership. And so that's leading us to partnerships with others. And Belize is one of them that you'll hear a little bit more about.
So Consuelo's on this meeting, and Anne is connecting the dots in this too. So she'll tell you more, but basically imagine 500 teachers this summer all working on this together, which is going to happen. And the people on this meeting, you're welcome to learn more about that. But Consuelo, go ahead.
Hi, thank you, Greg. Thank you, Anne, for having us here. I'm happy to be a part of this. Our story here in Belize started very small, with a small step. And it was really just a vision that we had with our Future Me. It's a program that we have here in Belize where students are able to tap into where they vision themselves to be in the future. And one of the things that had happened as a result of that was a conversation that Greg and I had. And we said, you know, what about it? What if we take that initiative and we expand it to what students can believe and the passions that they're striving for in their education? It's a little different here in Belize because the students here, they go through a very rigorous secondary training, and then from there, they have to select a pathway to their career. So they're kind of young when they make that decision. And we had 3 students. We had Jocelyn, Deetra, and Haiti, who were excited. They came to us and, well, they came to me and they said they wanted to learn more about how to pursue careers in health and finance. Deetra's story is one that is resonating with me. It touches my heart because she's one of the students who, from our Future Me program, from the Building Ships initiative, came to me and said, Miss Godfrey, I don't like talking in front of people. I don't like being on the Zoom. I am very shy. But she really wanted to pursue a career in finance. And we connected her. We invited her to one of our Future Me sessions with Visa. And from there, she blossomed. I mean, you're going to hear Deetra right now in a few talk about her experience with Visa, but Deetra's story is an example of how we can make those connections and partnerships and friendships and collaboration with industry experts. Deetra now, if you listen to Deetra, this was not Deetra a year ago. Deetra would not be in front of a camera talking to you like this and telling you how she felt about the experience with the Visa International group that she worked with last week on a Future Me initiative that they're doing. And she's going to talk a little bit about the app that they were creating and how she felt about that. Deetra now has applied to us for a scholarship with Visa International through their scholarship program that they have. And she's excited about her potential to be successful there. And so I'm gonna leave it to Deetra to tell you how she feels. So let's hear from Deetra.
Hi there, my name is Deetra Palacio. Currently attending Belmapa Methodist High School. I am 16 years of age. And let me tell you about this wonderful company, Visa, that has given me an opportunity to be a part of their company, allowing me to study abroad so that I could be a part of that. I have attended 2 meetings with them and both wonderful. The first time I was a little nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, these are huge people. These are managers of Visa. They are financiers. They are accountants. It was pretty crazy, but also encouraging as well. They motivated me. And the second time I attended, they let us come up with an app for adolescents like me to be able to spend, save, and withdraw money from it. And we came up with the app name, which is Raising Money. The way how we come up with this, I was working along with other students from other schools from so many different states. It was so amazing because they were, wow, oh my goodness. It was crazy. And we came up with it, and we came up with real life problem. They threw curveballs at us. It was real. And I also work with a girls program, Girls for STEM program. There I learned how to be an excellent speaker on whatever I can be a part of through Zoom, through Google Meets, real life. They teach me to be an excellent leader. They instill skills. Even if I was great at something, they wanted me to be even greater. That is what I am a part of, and I'm proud, I'm excited, and I can't wait for more generations to be part of this amazing STEM program.
Yes. So Deetra is, you see Deetra there, you would think, okay, she's been doing this for some time. That was not Deetra a year ago. And I'm proud of her. I'm proud of all that she has accomplished. We have Haiti and Cameron, you saw that in a few slides before, that's a part of the healthcare program. And they have been a part of the coding as well with Brittany, coding here in Belize with students. And I must say, when you hear these students talk about the fact that they can be a part of those programs, that is where the excitement comes in. And it really fuels me. You're hearing it in my voice. It's because I'm very fueled by this. And we are now in the process of looking at a job shadowing program here in Belize, and we're partnering all our girls who is in our STEM program, our Future Me program. We're partnering with them in local organizations and law firms and pharmaceutical companies and finance companies here in Belize. So I think it's going to go a long way. And then our summer program that we're going to have with our teachers this year, our professional learning forums, we are going to be connecting with teachers in Colorado as well as with teachers in Belize. And then we're also going to be looking at potentially getting students to be a part of that summer session with our teachers here in Belize. It's going to be a first for us in Belize. I'm just going to say that out loud. It's going to be a first, but I think it's going to be great. And it's going to start a movement in the way we do professional development in Belize. So I am super excited, and I'm happy that Greg and Ann has decided to be a part of it. And I welcome all industry experts on our call today and teachers who are interested in partnering with us this summer to be a part of this, because I am psyched. Thank you very much, Greg, for some time today. Thank you.
Thank you, Consuelo. And I think we have a representative from Visa, that Kirti, that is here, and we can there won't be enough time to do what we really want to do in this session. Obviously, it's just infinite opportunities. But I think one of the representatives that put that together is on this call as well. If I was able to get the link, I wasn't sure. I was scrambling at the end. The power of mentorship, and we have as Tom said earlier, it's really simple, connecting students' passions to the expertise and the adults energized as mentors. So if any of our mentors want to chime in, I think Sarah might be here. Sarah, are you here? So I'll quickly tell this story and interrupt me if any of the mentors are on today. I couldn't get the message out to everybody. But Margaret Albrecht at Visa with Conrad, Janet Laird with Tanvi, and they were talking about research. We have a respiratory therapist who met with one of our students. Well, there's Margaret Albrecht from Visa and Conrad, and Town V's story there. And what Janet did to prepare as a mentor for a meeting with Tanvi is nothing less than a miracle to me. Okay, so get this. Here we got Kim, who is a respiratory therapist in the time of COVID, meeting with a student whose grandfather was involved in the invention of the cocospirometer for respiratory therapy. So I'm witnessing these two in their meeting online, talking about everything from real life, what's going on in COVID and respiratory therapy, to technologies and engineering the future of respiratory therapy. I'm sorry, but I was just blown away. I sat there and watched their first meeting, and I was like, this is a TED Talk. This is like what the world should see this. Brenda might be on. I don't know. Are you on, Brenda? Yeah, I apologize. I couldn't get the word out to everybody for the Zoom change, but we have a student named Brenda who is working with Advent Health University on some healthcare initiatives, and Erica might be on. And then Lockheed Martin, I got Calvin is one of the leaders at Lockheed Martin. He likes fast cars and loudspeakers. And so we had a student who liked fast cars and loudspeakers and put them together. And it just was amazing. I'm going to zip through this, even though I understand at this conference, this could have been the whole session, right? Presentations beyond one and done. Curated experiences like the water experience and other things that we've heard. If you want to know more about it, we'll help you out. You can do this. You're invited to be in something that actually is this meeting right now is the kickoff of something mind-blowing. So Eric, I think, is on this meeting, and probably Craig from the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics. I'm going to turn it over to you guys to explain an opportunity that literally is rolling out during this meeting.
Well, good morning, all. My name is Eric Wilson. I am an AIAA professional member. I'm the CEO of a couple of companies. I also happen to be in the Space Resources program at the Colorado School of Mines as a PhD candidate right now. So I've got a few things going on. This idea about growing plants on the moon I heard about earlier is super exciting. And I say that because I am very interested in how do we grow plants on Mars? This was actually a talk I gave last fall at the AIAA national conference called Ascend, which is where I happened to meet Greg. And he was very, very excited about STEM education, as you can tell. I am very, very excited about STEM education, given some of my background. And so we got together. And in chatting through various ideas, we came up with the idea of a Martian greenhouse experience. This is designed for students anywhere, rural, international, local, in-person, remote, it really doesn't matter. And the idea is this is a very, very large challenge. People at Lockheed are trying to figure this out. People at NASA are trying to figure this out. We want your students trying to figure this out. We don't know how to do it. And there are so many aspects that go into the simple statement of growing plants on Mars. And you see a few of them there. But how do we deal with the water, obviously, the power? How do we get a greenhouse up there? Just the environmental systems alone. How do we actually transport all these things to Mars? Launching, transit, landing, observation, deployment. How do we fund it? How do we schedule it? How do we do that project management aspects, which every single aerospace program must deal with? All of those are part of this initiative we're calling the Martian Greenhouse. Greg? Craig, I'm sorry.
Yep. Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Craig Merritt. Today I'm connecting with you in my capacity as chair of the STEM K through 12 Outreach Committee at the American Institute for Aeronautics and Astronautics. My other occupation, I'm a professor of aerospace engineering at Clarkson University in upstate New York. When I found out about what Eric proposed at Ascend and subsequent conversations with Eric and Greg, the Martian greenhouse is very much something that AIAA is keenly interested in, and my committee specifically, because we provide support and content for teachers across the US and internationally as well. For those of you who are not familiar with AIAA, we are the professional body for aerospace engineering. We currently have about 30,000 professional members across the US and worldwide. And what we've been doing in the STEM K through 12 area, a couple of years ago, we launched what we call a Distinguished Mentor Program. So these are professional members who are volunteering their time to connect virtually with students across the US. And we do have mentors that cover the whole range of topics related to the Martian greenhouse. We're also very interested in this topic because we are always looking for large challenges that provide an authentic experience for students and to then share with all of our teachers. In the past, we've done Mars rovers and electric cargo planes. So the Martian greenhouse, we're hoping will be our next one. And we'll be sharing this with our educator associates. We have about 8,000 teachers on our network. And for our high school students, in terms of good timing, AIAA just launched its high school membership because in the past, you can only join AIAA as a college or university student or once you became an engineer. So on March 1st, we started our high school membership program, and that it's free for high school students. And it gives an additional opportunity for high school students across the US to connect with our professional members and hopefully work on this sort of challenge. Greg?
Thank you, Craig. I really appreciate that. You want in on Martian Greenhouse today, superintendents, teachers? Just email me. It's literally starting now. And the students that were on earlier from the Lockheed Martin internships have already done a lot of the legwork on and thinking about how this could roll out and be student driven, teacher facilitated, industry inspired. So I don't have time to tell you all the specifics, but you can get in on this now if you are serious about this thing called change. I heard the conference was about that. Jump on in and take a little risk here with us. And you can also take a little risk with GEXL and NREL if you'd like to, something that started this week that's going to be continuing. Again, I don't have time to explain all of this, but it's just as out of this world as the Martian greenhouse. Sorry, bad joke there. And then this is a little bit about the GE thing that has begun. And we've got some crazy good students that are just all over this. And we invite you to join us. So I'll put my email in the chat here in a minute. We may have a student, and we're running out of time, Ian and Tate and Sachin. So I probably am, I'll say have you say hello as I show the slide if you're on. Ian, are you on this meeting?
Yeah, I am. Hi.
Yeah, so Ian, in 30 seconds, tell them what you're going to be doing, because this is just as cool as Martian Greenhouse or GE, and this is completely, and I mean completely, driven by students. Go ahead, Ian.
So our team has set to figure out how VR and AR can change the educational industry to further promote growth in industry as a whole and not just in education. So what we did is we split it up, and we're working with the Chill Laboratory at Lockheed to figure out ways that VR can be implemented into education that both improve the quality of education as well as improving the students' knowledge and information retention.
Awesome. And of course, there's so much more to this. And so again, if you want in on this right away, I believe Ian's team they're doing all the work on this, and at some date in the near future, they want to present their findings and what they've done together. And there is a rural student working with them, small group of high school students mentored by Lockheed Martin. And yeah, another miracle. Thank you, Ian, so much. Teacher training information, get a hold of me. It's incredible. I wish we had another 2 hours to talk about that, but we don't. But Consuelo here on this meeting, and myself, start putting your contact information in the chat to get a hold of me or Consuelo or anybody else or Anne. It's amazing. I'm going to introduce to you Christian Dow. Christian Dow and I sort of thought of this idea of building ships while sitting in Starbucks and feeling some real urgency to do this. So Christian, if you're on, would you jump in?
Yeah, absolutely. It's and my name is Christian Dow, and formerly I was the president of Panther Industries, which is the building up the street from the STEM school. And years ago, I think 2016, we started doing partnering with the school and doing internships and things like that, and really seeing what the ability is for students to impact industry and impact us. And then to hear the stories of how excited kids were getting in the school, having been part of, our workforce and our internships and stuff, and how it was spreading and things. And so Greg and I sat down and we're like, well, how, all we need is people that they just need to know how to participate, how to get involved, how to make these connections. And then they just kind of flourish into all these different things. And you look through here and there's so many different industries, mining and aerospace and healthcare and industrial automation, factory automation. There's so many different projects that are going on, and so many different relationships that have been started. And all it really takes is somebody from industry and somebody from a school to say, I'm interested. So what Greg and I decided, to ask for is really, we're hoping to get 5 educators, just to say, hey, I want some help. And Greg and I will meet with you and talk to you about, just talk you through and make some introductions and things like that to how do you get started. And then do the same thing. If there are people from industry on this call, the same thing. What can you do? What does it mean? We'll connect you with other people that might be related to what you do, or help you out with how do you get a program started with your school, or the schools in your area, or things like that. So, this is kind of taken a life of its own, and we're just really pleased with the way it's going. So, go ahead, Greg.
Thank you so much, Christian. This is all to be continued, all of this. So I hope you do engage with us and make this just the seed that's been planted. I'm going to turn it over to Kia to end this session.
Thank you so much, Greg. And thank you again, everybody, for your flexibility and grace with the link. Before we end out, we want to make sure we thank our sponsors. You can see them here on the slide. And then next slide, please. And please make sure you go to cocharterconference.org for more information on sessions, as well as videos. And our next session will be a general session, which will be a panel, and we hope we will see you there. I see lots of people who would love more information, and so we can get your emails in the chat. Greg, I put it in there once before, but maybe end out. And I'll just give everybody a minute to copy that. Thank you so much. It was so inspiring to hear all of these stories today from both industry experts and students. So we look forward to connecting more.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, especially the industry partners that we have, the teachers that have taken that risk, the students that came on today. Let's build some ships.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.